Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're jumping straight into a feeling today that really trips up so many of us in relationships.
Yeah, jealousy. It's a big one, isn't it?
It really is that knot in your stomach, you know, that surge of suspicion. It's a tough one.
Definitely common. And it can be really painful. Honestly, most of us kind of struggle to handle it well.
Absolutely. And you sent us some really fascinating source material for this deep dive. It's writings from Ahmed Paglinawan, and he looks at jealousy through a lens that feels, well, quite different from the usual angles.
Yeah, he explores this theory about where it really comes from.
Exactly. And there was this little detail in the source I thought was pretty cool, that he even used AI to help refine his ideas.
Oh, interesting detail. Yeah.
So our mission here in this deep dive is basically to unpack Paglinawan's core perspective.
Right.
This idea that jealousy often isn't really about what your partner's doing, but more a symptom of your own, internal feeling of inadequacy.
And then explore the path forward he outlines.
Yes, exactly. What's the alternative?
And what's so fascinating, I think, is that shift. It pulls the focus from, policing the other person and directs it inward onto our own stuff. It's a fundamentally different way to look at jealousy.
Okay, so let's dig into that central idea from the source. Paglinawan suggests that really deep, lasting love, it's not built on just grand gestures or constant reassurance.
No, not primarily.
At its root, there's something quieter, but really powerful. It's this deep desire to feel simply, adequate for the person you're with.
Adequate, yeah. Let's unpack that word a bit based on the source.
Okay, so adequate here doesn't mean perfect, not at all.
Right. It's about feeling enough.
Yes. Enough to be chosen, enough to be trusted, enough to be admired and loved, like as you are right now.
While still being open to growing. That's crucial too.
Exactly. It's that quiet inner belief. I bring real, meaningful value to your life.
And the source explains why this is so critical, this mutual adequacy. It builds that foundation of emotional safety, you know? It fosters deep trust. Real intimacy can flourish then.
It's like the source says this feeling of, I am enough for you, and you are enough for me. It's the heartbeat of a healthy connection.
The heartbeat, I like that description.
Yeah. Okay, so it's that feeling of adequacy is the heartbeat. Here's where Paglinawan's theory gets really interesting, I think.
Right. What happens when that beat falters?
Exactly. When we don't feel adequate, when that inner voice is whispering, not enough. The source suggests our minds, our egos, they don't know how to handle that raw feeling. It's uncomfortable.
And that's the moment often when jealousy surges up. It rushes in to fill that void almost.
Yeah.
The material you shared frames it as a kind of defensive disguise.
Oh, I like that. A defensive disguise.
Yeah, it's covering up that deeper wound, right? That insecurity about our own worth.
So jealousy isn't always, or even mostly, about mistrusting your partner.
More often, in this view, it's a reaction, stemming from feeling inferior or replaceable. Unseen, yeah, or just fundamentally unworthy of their love or attention. Think about some examples the source gives, like feeling that pang when your partner shines on their own.
Yeah, it gets a promotion or something.
Exactly, or connects deeply with friends, or seems really fulfilled by a hobby that's separate from you.
Why does that trigger it, according to Paglinawan?
Well, the source explains it's often not rational, but a part of us whispers.
Oh.
If they can be happy without me, or, God forbid, with someone else, maybe I'm not essential, maybe I'm not enough.
Wow. So it becomes less about controlling the partner.
Right.
And more this, desperate attempt to reclaim some power. But power over our own feeling of helplessness.
Exactly. Power over that awful internal feeling that inadequacy stirs up.
Okay. But this raises a huge question, then.
Does jealousy actually solve the inadequacy problem?
Right. Does it work?
And according to the source material you sent, absolutely not. It's totally the wrong tool for that job.
Okay. Why not? What are the downsides?
Well, the material lists several big ones. First, it invalidates their agency. You're trying to limit their freedom.
To make yourself feel better.
Precisely, to protect your own comfort. Second, it actively erodes trust. The message becomes, I only love you if I can police you.
Which is the opposite of trust.
Yeah. Third, It distorts reality. You start seeing threats everywhere or blowing small things way out of proportion.
Creating problems.
And finally, it turns love into a transaction instead of I love you freely.
It becomes I love you if I feel secure.
And my security depends on you acting exactly how I want. It's conditional, based on control.
Which loops back to that core point from the source. What we actually need isn't control.
No. What's needed is healing. It's about returning to our own sense of wholeness, our own worth.
So jealousy isn't a living response.
It's a protective reflex, driven by fear.
Okay, so what does this mean practically? If jealousy is the wrong tool, what should we be doing instead?
Well, this is where the source gets really helpful, outlining a healthier path.
A path described as rational, respectful, and grounded in gratitude and agency.
Exactly. And it breaks it down into 6 clear steps.
6 steps for navigating these feelings in a way that actually builds you up instead of, tearing everything down.
Okay, step 1. And the source really emphasizes this can be the hardest part, is to actually acknowledge the feeling of inadequacy. Like, really acknowledge it. Don't run from it.
Don't try to rationalize it away?
No, name it plainly to yourself. The material suggests saying something like, okay, deep down, I'm scared I'm not enough for them.
Wow, that takes courage.
It does. I feel small right now. I feel afraid of losing them. Or maybe frame it with a bit more self-compassion. I'm really struggling with feeling like I'm not enough right now. That hurts.
And it's okay to feel this.
It just means I care. Yeah. And this matters so much because honesty is where courage starts.
Right.
Your insecurity can only start to shift when you bring it into the light of self-awareness. You can't heal what you won't even look at.
You can't heal what you won't name. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. What's step 2?
Step 2 is differentiate between facts and fears.
Okay. Facts versus fears. This is about clarity, right? The source suggests asking some pointed questions.
Very pointed. Like, is there actual evidence they're unhappy with me? Or doing something genuinely wrong?
Or is this just my fear talking? My history?
Exactly. Is this signaling a real issue in the relationship, or is it triggering my own stuff about self-worth?
Is this based on what is, or what I'm afraid might happen?
Is this really about them, or mainly about how I see myself? Those kinds of questions.
And why is that distinction so critical?
Because separating facts from your fears lets you respond with clarity, with truth.
Instead of just reacting out of panic.
Precisely. Clarity dismantles that emotional confusion that fear creates.
Okay. Step 3 is about communication. And the source is clear. Vulnerability, not control.
Yes. So instead of letting jealousy lead you to demands or accusation.
Which just pushes people away.
Right. The material suggests approaching them with vulnerability. Try explaining your internal state, but without blaming them.
Like what? What would that sound like?
Maybe something like, sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough for you. I really want to be, and I'm working on that in myself.
Okay. Taking ownership.
I don't want to limit you. I just want to grow with you. Or maybe simpler. Hey, sometimes I struggle with feeling like I'm not enough.
I'm trying to grow through this, not control you.
Exactly. And this vulnerable approach, it invites connection. It invites intimacy and understanding.
Whereas jealousy demands compliance.
And invites resistance. Every time.
Okay. Step 4. This one feels big. Respect their agency.
Huge. The principle here, according to the source, is basically non-negotiable.
Love without freedom isn't love. It's possession.
Pretty much. You can't turn love into surveillance. You can't dictate their actions, their friends, their time, just to soothe your own insecurity.
That feels really important.
And the implication is profound. If you try to clip someone's wings to keep them close,
they might just fly away for good eventually.
Or resent you deeply. And if you find you can't love someone as they are, including their need for autonomy,
then maybe you don't really love them.
You love your comfort, your security related to them. The source suggests an inner mantra almost. I trust you to be yourself, fully.
My job is working on feeling secure in who I am.
Yes, independent of their actions. Freedom, the material says, is where love breathes.
Okay. Step 5. Act from gratitude, not entitlement. This one feels, it tackles the hard stuff. What if the relationship does change or end?
Right. Even after all this work, what then? The source offers a really necessary perspective shift here.
Which is?
If it ends, it doesn't automatically mean you were inadequate. It just means something shifted. The connection isn't viable anymore for one or both of you.
So how do you frame that internally?
The source suggests cultivating a mindset of gratitude for what was. Something like, thank you for what we shared, for the time we had.
I'm walking away knowing I gave love, not fear.
Exactly. Or simply, thank you for this chapter. I gave my love honestly and I grew from it.
And why gratitude? Why is that the key, not bitterness?
Because gratitude leads towards peace, towards closure, even when it hurts, entitlement, feeling you are owed something.
That they shouldn't have left or changed.
Yeah. That just breeds bitterness, resentment. It keeps you stuck.
Okay, that makes sense. And the final step, number 6.
Invest in self-growth. This is the proactive part, the foundation building.
Right. How do you actually build that inner sense of adequacy so jealousy doesn't have so much fuel?
The source gives practical ideas. It says, consciously channel your energy into building your own sense of worth from the inside out.
What does that look like?
Actively develop new skills. Clarify your values. Deepen them. Deliberately rebuild your self-esteem based on internal strength, not external validation.
Right.
Practical things, too. Take genuine care of your body. Pursue goals that matter deeply to you.
Regardless of anyone else.
Regardless of anyone else, surround yourself intentionally with people who affirm your worth. And crucially, develop emotional self-trust.
Emotional self-trust, like trusting you can handle things.
Trusting you can handle your feelings, trusting your own resilience, relying on your internal resources.
So the goal is become someone you're proud of.
Exactly. That's beautifully put. Become the kind of person who makes yourself proud. That way, your adequacy isn't held hostage by anyone else's choices or opinions.
You realize you're more than just someone's partner.
You are your own source of worth, complete in yourself.
Wow. Okay, so connecting this back to the bigger picture of relationships.
Yeah, the source suggests a sturdy relationship isn't one where nobody ever feels inadequate. That's probably unrealistic.
Right.
What's fascinating is the idea that it's one where both people commit to facing those feelings when they come up.
Wow.
With honesty, not jealousy. With mutual growth, not blame. And with deep respect for each other's freedom.
Even if that freedom might eventually lead them apart.
Even then, acknowledging that possibility with respect.
Okay, so let's quickly recap this deep dive based on the source material you shared.
Let's do it.
Paglinawan's core idea, jealousy, often a signal of our own inadequacy, not necessarily about our partner.
And reacting with control or policing, counterproductive, pushes them away.
Right. The alternative path involves, first, courageously acknowledging that feeling of inadequacy in yourself.
Then, rigorously separating facts from fears. Asking those hard questions.
Choosing vulnerability in communication, not control.
Honoring and respecting your partner's agency, their freedom, completely.
Practicing gratitude for what is or what was instead of entitlement.
And maybe most fundamentally, investing in your own self-worth. Building adequacy from the inside out.
Yeah.
And the final thought from the source, maybe something for you to really sit with, is this. Feeling inadequate sometimes. That's just human.
We all feel it.
Reacting with jealousy. Understandable, it's a common defense. But maybe not the most helpful one. But to consciously choose honesty, choose respect, choose growth, even when it's hard, even when there's risk, that is where the power lies.
The call to action from the source is pretty clear.
Love them fully while you're together. Respect their freedom, always. Stand firmly in your own worth no matter what.
And if you must let go,
do it with grace. Grace born from gratitude and self-respect, not from the desperate grip of fear.
That's a powerful note to end on. Thank you so much for sharing these sources and for joining this deep dive.
Thank you.
We really hope the ideas from Paglinawan's work give you, the listeners, something valuable to ponder and maybe explore in your own life.